It's not just mine, his or her house. This is our house.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tyrone Lowe. The show is called The Legends, and I'm your host. I want to thank everybody all over the world that actually subscribes to my show and show me love. Now, this show is kind of special to me because it's quite overdue. We both have something in common. We play for a station called LWR, but the difference is I'm house, he's reggae, and he's been doing it for a while. So, in the house of the legends, I bring you Fuzzy D. What's up, Fuzz?
Blessed, 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 blessed love. Thank you very much for inviting me. And let me
Yeah,
say,
man.
I
It's been
noticed
it's
your
been
intro. Can I just say, I noticed your
yeah,
intro, which said this is the house. Yeah, something like that, wasn't it? My
yeah,
house.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Would
yeah.
you remember a guy called Frankie Knuckles?
Of course.
Well, Frankie Knuckles was made very, very popular in London by LWR.
Oh yeah, definitely. Frankie was actually universal. When it comes to the house scene,
Yeah.
where he actually originated a lot of things on the house scene, and he's quite popular. Even though that he's not with us anymore, his
Yeah.
name is still outstanding.
Well, to be quite honest, at the time when he wasn't known in Europe and England, we broke him through, and he actually came to London to thank us for it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Frankie was the man back in the days.
Yeah,
So we're
yeah.
gonna talk about you, Fuzzy.
Okay, no problem.
We're gonna talk about where you're based at, and let's talk about the beginning from you, from when you really started the music scene on
Okay,
LWR.
okay. Well, I started music before LWR. Actually, I started off as a DJ playing on a sound system called Just Scorpio in London, Hackney. And I done that for 12 and a half years. Started when I was playing music when I was 9 years old. In fact, I do remember many years ago, my father used to have one of these grams which had a radio, come turntable, and his little amplifier. It was like his baby. He would love to play music, and I'd love listening every Sunday, sitting there listening to him put all these little 7 inches on and playing some of these albums. And then he said to me, "Oh, do you want to put something?" I said, "Yeah, I'll put something on." Well, I went to play some of his music, and I happened to scratch one of the records. And he goes, "Oh, hey, hey, hey." He says, "You love playing music?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, go and buy your own." I was 9 years old when he said that to me. And with that, I went down to a shop we used to call Wars in London, where they used to sell little 7 inches at some of their desks. I used to go in there, and I used to get my dinner ticket money, and I spend my dinner ticket money on buying little records, 7 inches. And my first record was 1960, was the Israelites, Desmond Decker and the Aces.
Okay,
That was my very first ever record that I bought.
okay. And then where did it take you from there? Because that's when the childhood, but when you really decided to say to yourself, "I want to be a DJ," how did you actually start doing that?
Oh, that
Well,
was when I,
before you even go there,
yeah.
I remember my first reggae 45, and it was on Trojan Records.
Okay,
And that's going way back. I
that's
don't even
going
think
away.
they even exist anymore.
Oh, Trojans still
Oh,
exist.
really?
Yeah, they're still there, but the original pioneers aren't there. But there are
Right.
others
Okay. I should have
in
said
family
that instead.
that
Yeah.
carry on,
Mhm.
their mentor for many years. But as I was saying, 9 years old is when I wanted to be a DJ, because actually before I was playing or wanted to become a DJ. I used to be a electronics engineer. I was very, very good at electronics. I
Okay.
used to build little radios and things like that. I actually built an intercom system for my mother
Oh, wow.
Yeah, when I was just 7, 8 years, I was
Well,
really, really good.
to be at that age to be technically inclined like that, man, that's amazing.
My father was an actual engineer as well, so think it's through the line of the blood that I became an engineer. Well, I started, but then I
Mhm.
discovered music, and that was it. I dropped the I dropped the engineering and went straight into music.
Mhm.
And as I say, I started a sound system myself and 6 other brothers from school when I was 13.
Wow.
And yeah, we were 13. Most of us were 13, 14,
Mhm.
around that age. We started a sound system and then started playing music in our community. In fact, we started in a basement. One of my friends from the sound who was at my school, he had a basement. So we used to go to his basement. We painted it up and started building boxes and things like that from there.
Right. Because I know that England was actually famous for their sound systems.
Very much so. Yeah,
Yeah.
there were many great sounds back in the days. You know, we had Fat Man, Coxon, Sopranaby,
Mhm.
so many great sounds, so many great sounds from back in the days when I think about it. And that was what was. I used to go and listen to where he's passed away now. Oh my gosh, he's mine. It's gone out of my mind. But anyway, we used to listen to loads of sounds as young boys. I used to have to sneak out my mum's house of a night time, and one day I came home and I couldn't get in because my father had put all screws and nails on the windows, which was on the first floor, which I used to have to climb, shimmy up a drain pipe to get to it, and knocked on the window. My sisters were in their bedroom, and I said, "Open the window." They said, "We can't." I said, "Why? Well, just so." I said, "No, Dad screwed it down." So I had to go down. Well, I went to the shop actually, came back with a loaf of bread and a newspaper, knocked on the door. It was 9 o'clock in the morning, then AM on a Sunday morning. And my mother came to the door, looked at me and said, "Where have you been?" I said, "Oh, I just went down the road to buy a newspaper." She said, "No, where have you been all night?" I said,
Mhm.
"Oh." She goes, "Son, you can fool me, but you can't fool God." Those words stuck with me forever and evermore.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, being at a young age and being inspired by music the way you were, did you think that it was actually going to take you to where you're at right now?
No, not really. I just love playing. I just love music, and as I do today, I just love playing music. And the greatest thing for me is seeing other people enjoy the music that I
Right.
have to play for them. I get a kick out of seeing people being happy,
Right.
especially when it
Right.
comes to music. It inspires me. You know,
Mhm.
it just inspires me. Music is a great thing, and it's
Okay.
universal, as you know.
Okay. Fuzzy, let me ask you a question. Is there a difference between, I would say, European reggae and Jamaican reggae? Because I've sort of like listened to both in a sense.
Yeah,
I've listened to reggae from Jamaica
yeah,
and various other places that actually do reggae, and then I listened to some of the reggae from England. And
yes.
so, can you just tell me the difference in it as far as how that was actually imported?
The Jamaican music is more, it's the original. We in England we have a set of music we call lovers rock, and
Mhm.
lovers rock was created in Britain because we used to listen to a lot of soul, R&B, as Jamaicans did as well. But the way they played it was slightly different to the way we play it in England, and we had more of a love tone, and the coordinations are slightly different to the way the Jamaicans played it. But it was reggae all the same as far as we was concerned. We was doing it in our own imitable style, and they loved it. People like Sugar Minott came to England to progress on such great music, and there was the Cool Ruler, Isaacs, Dennis Brown. They all came to England to play and find the lovers style of music. And even when most of the Jamaicans were going to Europe to do tours, especially in the 70s and the late 80s, they would come to England to pick the musicians from London or England to take them to Europe and beyond to play their music for them, because the English musicians were very good at their craft. They were good, very good, and still are to this day.
It's very funny because I look at the situation between the United States and England. Um,
Mhm.
you guys really plagiarize more music and give it a whole lot more props than we actually do here in the United States. And I noticed that from playing from LWR because a lot of stuff that I play, a lot of people don't hear. I like to
Okay,
play
yeah,
differently. You know what I'm
correct.
saying? And
Yeah.
I've got some feedback from England, or I could say the UK, and they're
Mm,
like, "Wow, it's phenomenal! You
mm,
guys really embrace music a whole lot more, and also you guys are a lot more supportive.
correct.
When it comes to artists, especially when they come from the United States." And I've talked to a
Sure.
lot of artists and say, "You guys give them a whole lot of love over there, where over here is just like it's just so moderate." You know what I'm saying? It's just like, well, it is what it is. You know what I'm
It is.
saying?
I hear you. Well, you know what it is as well, that in England we've got a variety of choices of music, of different styles of music, uh, and a lot of world musicians and artists, they like to test their music in England, because England is like a testing ground. If it doesn't work in London or England, it won't work anywhere else in the world. It may work in somebody's local country and have their local listeners and followers, but they do their worldwide testing ground in England, because England, as I say, is such a variety of music that we play here, especially LWR. For many years, nobody heard of Frankie Beverly and Mays until LWR got Frankie
Oh,
Beverly.
really?
Beverly and Mays. Correct. We brought him
Wow.
to.
That's
We brought
amazing.
him.
That's amazing.
Also, those young ladies, three sisters. My
The
mind is
emotions?
not the emotions. The Shirley was one of their sisters' name.
Um, uh, gee, I can't
And
really say right off the top of my head right
Shirley
now.
Beverly, um, or
Um,
I could
the
see them.
Jones Girls?
The Jones Girl. Thank you.
Okay, okay.
We put a concert on in England called um, the Jones Girls Coming to England. Nights Over England. You know,
Right,
they
right.
Nights Over
Egypt.
Egypt.
Nights over
But we
Egypt. Yes.
so no, but we called it Nights Over England, and we brought them to London and done a concert in Tottenham Court Road. What a jam! People were so happy, and on top of it, they allowed their mother to come out and speak and sing for them with them. Great, great night. So
Oh,
LWR
wow.
has done a lot. LWR has brought a lot of people
Mm-hmm.
from the States and elsewhere
Right.
around the world to England, and that's why there's such a variety of musical choices in England, because
Mm-hmm.
we just love embracing music.
Yeah, because I feel so free when I play for LWR. I get so much music, and to channel it over there and people receiving it the way it is, I feel so great about that because that's the energy that you guys really give to me, especially when some of my friends listen to LWR and it's like, wow, you play a lot of things that a lot of people don't play because there's a lot of music and it needs to be played,
Absolutely. I
you
think
know?
I think we're just spoiled in England. We got-
Yeah,
because we've got so much variety of we listen to so much music here.
yeah.
That, we're spoiled. I think that's our problem.
But before we forward on, I want to give a shout out to Pat, you
Pat,
know.
yeah, oh yeah,
You
very
know,
very lovely.
she's so sweet. When I call
Yes,
her and tell her, well, listen, I need a repeat for the week. She's like, okay, Tyrone, and I just love to hear her talk.
you
And
got her
believe it or not,
voice.
Fuzz, believe it or not, I was born in England.
You were? What
Yes,
part?
but I came in to the States when I was 4 years old, me and my sister.
Okay, very good.
But I sort of like lost my accent along the way, so I'm sort of like Americanized in a sense. But when I used to hear my cousins and them talk, with the
English
English accent, I mean, I
accent.
just love it. I'd be like, say that again.
So, mind you, we say the same of you guys.
I can
When
imagine.
we sort of say, oh, what was that? He said, oh yeah, okay. And especially the women love the American voices in
Yeah,
Oh yeah, that turns them on. Oh,
So, so my question to you, Fuzz, have you done? Let's talk about some of the clubs. Did you do some clubs in England? And if
yeah,
you did, name a few of them so the viewers will
Limelight.
know.
Limelights. There's a place called Limelights in the West End. Did that. There used to be a place called Trends in Stoke Newington that I did that. There's a place called Cammy's. There's quite a few places over the many years, and Nightingale. Oh, there's so many, and I've lost count of them, and I've lost.
Really, after
Yeah,
all these
and
years?
the funniest thing is, where I lived in East London, there were lots and lots of clubs, lots of venues that used to play music. Now, most of them have all been knocked down and shut down, and new things and new buildings are in their places. Because East London was the hub for music. People used to travel from north, south, east, or west of the UK just to come to East London. It was one of those places that just had musical drum. We just created music was something that was in everybody's veins. We just loved to play music. So
Right.
East London was the hub really for a lot of places back in the days to play music and appreciate music as well.
Hmm.
Yes.
Would you say the club scene is the same as way back, or is it different now
No,
in real
it's a,
time?
it's a lot different because
Also,
when
can
I
you explain the difference, if you
well
will?
when we were coming and growing up, it was about the guys meeting the girls. We used to go clubs just to meet women to
Right,
find out.
right.
Yeah, that was what it was. But today they just go to the club because they like the artist, which is not a bad thing. But it's just
Hmm.
that the fact we were a lot younger, and our concept was how many telephone numbers can you get tonight? How many
that's
did you
that's
get?
that sounds so competitive.
Oh,
You
it
go
was
you go
very
to the club, and you get you're with the guys, and
yeah.
all of a sudden it's like, let's see who can at the end of the night. Let's see how many telephone numbers we have at night,
Well,
and that's so exciting. Like I bet you it was a
that
big
was
deal.
a great that was one of the deals that we used to have. And the thing is, the ladies they knew this, so
Right.
some of them would play the game, and some of them would
Oh, yeah.
just
Right. Right.
so it was challenging. It was fun. It was
Okay.
like, but they don't do that today.
Okay.
The clubbers they're a little bit more offish. They don't really get because
Okay.
we used to get together and have. That's why I say Lovers Rock was a British thing because Lovers
Right.
Rock was a part of the way that a lot of the relationships were formed because you were
Hmm.
able to go to the club, pick a girl, or see a lady,
Right.
have a dance with her, and while you're dancing there, you're talking to her
Right.
and you're showing her
You're
your
starting the
how.
process.
There you go. So the more dances you had, the more numbers you hopefully could get. And that's how it really started. That's why Lovers Rock was very, very, um, very good when it comes to music in London because that was what it was for. It was to help us form relationships.
Hmm.
Yeah, and it was good in the community. The community was
Okay.
quite tight.
Besides LWR, are you still playing for another station as well, or besides
Uh,
that?
yeah,
And before you answer that, Fuzz,
mm,
how long have you been playing for LWR? Because I've been playing for LWR close to 8 years now, so I know you probably much longer than me. Because I've met the person that actually uh, got me on LWR. I think they've been playing it for like 15 years or something like that.
well, December 2024 with 40 years.
40 years?
Yep.
Really, Fuzz?
Yes, sir.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm just a chip off the block, man, compared to that. I mean, I got 8 years in, you know what
Well,
I mean?
at
And
least you started. You're on your way.
yeah, well, I loved to hear when they actually air me.
Mhm.
And not only that, I have a talk show too, and which
Yeah,
this is going to be aired on LWR as well. So look
lovely.
forward to that.
I will do.
What I like about LWR is that they have many platforms of music. They got the R&B, the house, the reggae,
Mm.
um, different types of music. Maybe you can
About
actually
20,
channel
it's
in and
about 20 platforms actually.
yeah, man, and it's
Talk shows,
amazing,
sport
man.
shows. They have keep fit shows,
Hmm.
jazz shows.
Jazz,
Yeah,
yeah, they got
yeah,
everything, man. It's like you take your pick.
yeah. Well, that's because of the intelligence of the manager, the guy who runs it.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
want to shout out to Zach.
yeah.
Zach is the man.
He is the man, definitely.
you
He's
know,
he's he's years ahead of his game and has been for
yes,
many
he
years.
is. I mean, very much. I can see that.
Yeah, very,
And
very
stuff. And I
much.
know they have quite a following at that. And I like that. So let me ask you a question. Where do you want to be at least? I mean, you got 40 years in,
Yeah.
so I'm going to ask you. I mean, we live the day at a time, but the next 5 years, what do you still want to take it to a whole different level as far as what you're doing, or are you working on that as well right now?
I also do production. I work in a
Okay,
recording studio. Actually a recording engineer. I do a lot of recordings, and I'm also what we call OB, where we do outside broadcasts. I do that. I just love engineering. I'm an engineer. I'm an engineer by heart. It's
and
just
that's
something.
cool, Fuzz.
Yeah, I just love doing that. That's I do especially live. I like to do live gigs,
Mm-hmm.
bands, and that because I was brought up. I was just brought up on music, and I just because I have the engineering skill as well. I
Right.
use it with it, so it
Okay.
helps me. Yeah, it helps me to
How did
produce.
you come up with the name Fuzzy D, man? That always puzzled me. I'm very
Okay.
curious about that.
All right, let's take it to the beginning. In the beginning, my first name is Daniel.
Right.
Everyone knows me as Daniel. So when I used to go to school, I was a very funny kid. I used to be I was the kid in the class that used to disrupt the class with laughter. I was always
Mm-hmm.
making everybody laugh, and that's because they I was in school and they started to call me Fuzz after the bear that used to be on Sesame Street. No, no, sorry, not Sesame Street. Um, the one that's got Miss Piggy on it. I've forgotten the name of the actual company now. No, Kermit the Frog. Yeah, Kermit the Frog and all these people, all these friends, and they used to have a bear called Fuzzy Bear. So my friends started to call me Fuzzy D because D is the initial to my name Daniel. So
Okay.
Fuzzy was because of that bear who was a comedian. So that's where I got the name from, Fuzzy Bear. And also, at the time, I had a really big afro.
Oh,
Mine,
okay. I
mine could
guess we all did back in the days because I had one too.
yeah, it's not there anymore. But yeah,
Yeah, mine is
we all started
mine is
off.
still there, but you can't see it.
Yeah, mine is still there. It's all in the heart right now.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, so that's where I got the name Fuzzy D from, and I just took it through. People just started continuing to call me it. So yeah, that's where it came
That's
from.
cool.
School days.
All right. You got over, you could say 40 or 50 years as far as your craft. And the guys that are upcoming right now that wants to get into it, I'm sure you have a lot of information you can give them. So what can you actually tell them, Fuzz?
Well, actually, I used to work on a station called Cool FM, and I used to teach radio to beginners, people who wanted to know about how to broadcast. I used to teach people how to do uh, engineering as well. So best way is if you love music, it's a great start. If you know how to select music, it's another great start.
Right,
As, as long as you have, as long as you have that grit in your teeth, it's like anything. You might not be great at it, but you can practice, and the more you practice, the better you become. And the the reward is actually going out and playing music for people in parties, in clubs, whatever, just to see their reaction to your selection and how you select and how you put it together. So
right.
anybody wants to go out there, and the good thing is do it at home. Start at home, like in front of the mirror. Stand in front of the mirror, play your music, and dance away. Get the joy seeing yourself play the music.
Okay.
Because people love to see you if you're playing music, they one thing they love to see is the person who's providing that music is happy and
Hmm.
dancing along with the music because it encourages them to get up and dance.
Right.
So you've got this.
Selection is very important as well.
Oh yes, but what happens is that you select the music that you like, but you also select the music that other people like, and the only way you can do that is by just playing and seeing what fits. Not all the time that your music is going to bring joy to people, but you got to work it out. And then music is an art. It's like painting. Once you've got a blank canvas, you put your craft on that blank canvas to make your
Mhm.
painting, and that's what music is.
Okay. So before we end the show, man, we got a like good 4 minutes or so. Let's talk about some current events that Fuzzy might be doing, and so the viewers would know exactly how to keep up with you and things like that.
Currently, currently, I only have the radio, which I do every weekend,
Hmm.
which is Saturday and Sunday between 6 to 8 p.m. UK time.
Hmm.
Um, Everything else, I'm actually quite sick at this present moment, so a
Right,
lot of
right.
my playing out has dwindled because I actually uh, am a sickle celium. I've
Okay,
got a problem with my kidney. In fact, I've got no kidneys, so I'm
oh,
on
okay,
dialysis. I'm on dialysis, and I have to do that 3 times a week.
okay.
So I'm quite poorly that way, but mentally I'm strong. And by
Hmm.
the grace of the Almighty, that gives me the
Right,
strength to get up every day to say thank you for life. I
right,
continue with the things that I
and
can do, but I don't
right.
have no
Hmm.
immediate gigs. I have a couple of parties actually, but
Okay.
no immediate gigs like I'd like to go out do
Hmm.
functions. No, I haven't got that in my lock at the present moment.
Okay.
I just look to get myself back into fitness.
Okay.
And yeah, that's where I'm at.
You know, despite of your mishap as being sick, man, you got a whole lot to look forward to, and you have a whole lot to look back at,
True.
because that
I'm
was quite a
actually,
journey. I mean,
I'm
all these
actually,
years, that's a journey, man.
I'm
I
writing a
can't
book.
think of a lot of DJs can actually say what you say
I'm
to
writing a
be in the
book.
craft as long as you've been,
Thank you. I'm writing a
and
book actually.
okay,
Yeah, I'm writing a book on my life.
okay.
So it's going to
You
show.
were supposed to be on my show before the pandemic, man. And
Yeah,
I think at that point, I think this, I don't know if you got sick then, but we had lost contact for a while. And
correct. I was
it
sick.
came it came into my spirit. And I'm
Mm,
like, I have to call Pat. I said, I got to get Fuzz on the show.
thank you. Well, I
you know,
appreciate it. I appreciate
and
it.
I really appreciate you, man, being on the show. And you have any shout outs that you want to shout out to? Anybody you want to shout out to or
Well,
peoples
I
before we
like,
end up?
I'd like to shout out to Zach, who actually is my brother. We've been on a long journey together, and we've put a lot of people into great businesses. They've created great businesses, and he's one of those that I admire because he's my older brother,
Right.
and he's inspired me just like my father. He inspired me just like my mother, who
Mhm.
inspired me. So it's kind of like a family thing that I like to show because there's if I start to name all the names of my friends, I'm going to miss some out, and they're going to say, "Well, how comes you never?" And so rather I say to all my friends, to all my family members that
Right.
I haven't mentioned their names, don't worry, it's always in the heart, the mind, and the soul, never forgotten.
Okay. Well, Fuzz, it's been a pleasure. I mean, a real pleasure to have you on my show. Godspeed. I speak in existence of your sickness that it is done and you are healed,
Thank you.
you
I
know.
I accept.
And I want to thank you guys for listening in for my show, The Legends. And I just want to thank you guys for actually listening and stuff. And so this has been another T Low video production. And you guys Have a nice one.
It's not just mine, his or her house. This is our house.